Hi everyone. In this video, I'd like to continue our studies of graphing sinusoidal functions with a phase shift. Now, in the first video, I explained what a phase shift was. Again, phase shift is just basically a horizontal shift when we're talking about transformations, correct? So we're moving the entire function to the left or to the right. Okay, that's what a phase shift is. It's basically a horizontal shift. Okay, to the left or to the right. And remember, when we're doing horizontal shifts, it's counterintuitive. When we're moving to the right, it should be plus, but it's not, it's minus. And when we're moving to the left, it should be minus, but it's not, it's plus. So the signs are opposite. And we're always adding or subtracting from or to the x, to the variable x. All right, so let's take a look at this problem right here. So h is a trig function of the form h of x is this. Below is the graph of h of x. You're given a maximum point and you're given a minimum point. And they want you to find the entire function. So let's do that. Let's get rid of this and start with a clean slate. All right, and we are ready to go. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to copy this over to my whiteboard. Okay. And now let's okay. So let's open it up. Okay, here we go. So here is the problem. Okay. I think everyone can see it, right? Okay. So again, I'm going to write the function here. Now, I like to write this. You can write it like that, but I like to write it in this form because it helps me to save to make less mistakes. And this is how I like to write it. I like to write it this way. H of x is equal to a cosine, and I'm going to take the frequency out. I'm going to put a double parentheses here. I'm going to put b times x plus c, and then close parentheses, and then plus d. And the reason I like to do this is because here, in this particular format, it's easy to identify the amplitude, right? The frequency, the phase shift, and then finally the midline. Okay? The midline. All right? So here it's very clear. Once I find my phase shift, I just plug it in here. If I were to plug it in here, okay, now that would change because then I would have to multiply the phase shift by b to get this c value. You see the b is now inside the parentheses? Well, once the b goes inside the parentheses, remember, what property do you have to apply here if you want the b to be inside? Distributive property. So b times 1 is b, so now the b is inside, and then b times c, that's the value that goes here. It's really frequency times, this c up here is really the frequency times the phase shift. So I don't, that's one more mistake. That's one more mistake that I can make, having to multiply the phase shift with the frequency to get this c value. All right? I'd rather just write it like that, nice, clean, and simple. This c here represents my phase shift. All right, let's do it. So I need some values. Okay, as usual, I need my A. Okay, I need my A, my amplitude, my frequency, correct, my phase shift, and my midline. Okay, some of these are easier to find than others, of course. All right, so amplitude. Again, it's half the vertical distance. So from maximum to minimum, okay, it's going to be half. So 3 minus negative 4, and I have to divide that by 2, correct? Because it's half the vertical distance from max to min. So this is going to be plus plus, right? So this is really 7 over 2, which is 3.5. Okay, there we go. And another easy value to find, of course, is my midline. So if the amplitude is 3.5, then I know from the max down 3.5 gives me the midline. So 3 minus 3.5, right? This is my max y. Max y minus the amplitude gives me the midline, which is negative 0.5. Here we go. So I have the amplitude, I have the midline. Let's find now the frequency and the phase shift. Frequency, we know that's 2 pi over the period, correct? Let's find the period. Well, here they give me from max to min. Max to min is half of the period. So let's find the horizontal distance. So negative 2 pi minus negative pi over 2. Okay, so the period is going to be twice that because I know that from max to min is half of the period, so I got to multiply it by 2 to get the full period. So let's find this. This is plus plus. Use common denominators. So this is really what? Negative 4 pi over 2 plus pi over 2. So that's going to give me, this is going to give me negative 3 pi over 2. So negative 3 pi over 2, period is 2 times negative 3 pi over 2. And that's going to give me what? Negative 3 pi. But I know period is distance, so it can't be negative. So I take the absolute value. So my period is 3 pi. Okay, so let's go up here and now plug it in. 2 pi over 3 pi. And it looks like my frequency, cancel the pi's, is 2/3. Okay, so there's my frequency. Last thing is a shift. This is a cosine function, correct? Cosine starts at the max. All right? Well, look, normal cosine, the max, if it really started at the max, the max point would be at 0, 3, right? Because the max would have to be on the y-axis. But this max on the cosine is not on the y-axis. It is shifted 2 pi units to the left, correct? So this point is shifted from 0 to negative 2 pi is 2 pi units to the left. So this function has a 2 pi left shift. Okay, because it's minus, right? Minus 2 pi means a left shift of 2 pi units. Remember, when we're going to the left, it's plus. When we're going to the right, it's minus. So it's 2 pi to the left. Left shift. Okay? So this thing has to be plus. So let's write our function. So h of x, final, h of x is equal to 3.5. What is it, cosine? Yep. Cosine. And again, parentheses, write the b, 2/3. Write another set of parentheses. We got x, we're going to the left, so it's plus 2 pi. Close up the double parentheses. And then finally the d, it's minus 0.5. I believe that should be our function. So let's type that in and just check. It's a lot of typing, right? 3.5 cosine. 3.5 cosine. Open up a set of parentheses. And then we're going to have 2/3. We're going to have 2/3. And then we're going to open up another set of parentheses for variable x. We're going to the left, so it's plus, and it's plus 2 pi. 2 pi, and then we close up, and then on the outside I believe it's minus 0.5. If I'm not mistaken, let me just check. Okay, so it's x plus 2 pi, and I think that's it. And that is correct. Okay, guys? All right, great.